All right, Rants and Vizzo show today is brought to you by Spreely TV. All things spoken freely, fucking A. Spreely TV. Go to Spreely.com. Check out all the things that we have there for free speech, including a social media network, the Burn Pit podcast, Report and Opine, Shannon Joy, our show Monday through Friday, and many, many others. Also, today's brought to you by First Class Sinners. First Class Sinners. You got a motorcycle? Be a dude. Their shirts are the best. I wore the shirt literally this weekend, 3 days in a row. Never lost its form. Also, hug the sleeves so damn good, it made it look like I'm not natural, which I'm not. FirstClassSinners.com. All right, let's have a show.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Good afternoon, Rants of Izzo show here on Spreely Media. All things spoken freely, free speech. You know, you hear it all the time. All those shows out there that they say what they want to say and all that garbage. And whoa, how'd I freeze? And we just say what we want, like including, holy shit, I froze on camera. And I don't know where the fuck I am. But this is a Burn Pit podcast. Boys are joining today, and we're all ready to go. Gents, good afternoon. Appreciate you seeing on a Wednesday. Thanks for accommodating last week. We appreciate you.
Of course. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be here with you, Dominic. We enjoy and look forward to Wednesday every week at 1 o'clock on Spreely TV.
Sure, you anti-Semites do. Listen, all right, so over the weekend, and it's great to see everybody in the chat, Digital Nevada, Kelly Wilson, Bev, April Schoen, Dave, Grizz, what's going on? It's great to see you guys in there. Morgan. Over the weekend, I had a wedding, and I got a question for you. At one point, all us groomsmen were on the bus going from point A to point B. And I keep forgetting that I'm antisocial. I don't talk to people ever. And I get this all the time. I hate the disingenuous questions of, so what are you doing? What have you been up to? How are you? Like from friends and family that you just haven't seen in God knows how long. And I had a little bit of that, which I avoided, which was nice. But the problem I found myself having is on the, by the time, so it was Thursday, Friday was rehearsal dinner. Saturday, by the time the wedding was there on Saturday and I'm on the shuttle, I was comfortable and I'm relaxed. And, you know, I'm a different person in my social life and I like to joke around and stuff. And I swear to God, at one point, somebody asked somebody on the bus, because you got, there had to be 12 of us. There was a lot of guys in that bridal party. And I hear one guy go, what are you, a Jew? And I sat there and I go, wait, I went, no, this is not the time or place. I wanted to insert my newfound logic, and I thought to myself, shit, I'm in over my head. Scott and Matt, I want to ask you guys, with the holidays coming up, for those who have been listening to the show regularly and have newfound opinions, what's the best way to bring up this newfound interesting information over holiday dinners? Do you guys have any suggestions for people who might want to say, pass the turkey? It's not like there were 6 million Jews who actually suffered and didn't get their turkey. Do you guys have any suggestions for people?
Are you talking about bringing it up yourself? Introducing the topic yourself?
Well, I'm playing and I'm having fun. But when you think about it, there's two different methods. You can bring it up yourself, or when you insert yourself in a conversation, I would like to think that most people don't want to hear it. Have you ever sat there and had I'm sure you have. I'll let you just run with it. How do you bring this up?
Well, remember you made a little statement a while back talking about the 7 degrees of separation?
I believe so, yeah.
Remember how you could sort of relate it in 7 degrees? When I made the joking statement, but not joking, it has pretty much 1 degree. Mm-hmm. So if they talk politics, which if that gets brought up, you can inject yourself into that conversation and you could probably bring it up, especially when you're talking about both candidates, because there's definitely a 100% correlation with that topic with both of those candidates and the government in general, as you know. So you can inject it that way. Now, if you want to talk about like the religion itself, then all you have to do is go to the, if you have Christian family and you're talking about Christian stuff, you can, and it's Christmas time, you can bring up exactly what I brought up to you. I believe it was last week or the week before, talking about, hey, look at that menorah on the White House lawn. Where's the nativity scene? Mm-hmm. Oh, there's not allowed to be one. Did you know that? What do you think that is? You know, you can bring stuff like that up because it's Christmas time, Christmas dinner. You're bringing up Christmas topics, you know, and you can sort of do things like that. But it's always best to interject into a conversation whenever you have that 1 degree of separation, pretty much on these type of topics, especially politics.
Matt actually.
No, can you picture Matt, Scott? You picture Matt on a White House tour, and he's got the shuttle up front, and Matt's just in the back going, "Excuse me, sir. Yeah, when are we going to see the pile of shoes?"
Well, no, I got kicked out of Auschwitz because I came with a calculator. So
Matt actually came over to my house on the 4th of July and got into a conversation with my dad about religion and politics. And I thought we handled things well. We always just say, hey, how much have you looked into this? How much have you researched? Do you know about this topic? How much of this topic do you understand? And he, my dad is married to the evangelicals and the evangelical doctrine of those who bless my people, I will bless, and those who curse my people, I will curse. He does. He thinks that they're God's chosen. He donates to World Challenge, which has a specific donation for Israel. World Challenge was an organization started by David Wilkerson, who was the pastor at Times Square Church in New York City. And I believe their headquarters are out of Texas, but he donates to Israel every month, I believe. But Matt and I handled the discussion, I thought, pretty well. He was getting more frustrated and angry than we were. And we just were calmly showing him things. And there's some things there you can't dispute, especially when it comes to the Bible and the New Testament and New Covenant versus Old Covenant. It's hard to deny some things.
Well, I was going to bring this
We always keep it peaceful.
We do. So if we're going to keep it biblical, I thought this would be a great way to have conservatives' heads explode. Back in the whole QAnon shit, I sat there all the time and I was looking at the fact of people were thinking that Victor Fusco, that's John F. Kennedy Jr. And I went, I fell into the trap of going, man, that would be something if you look at the parallels between the Antichrist and John F. Kennedy Jr. The Antichrist is supposed to be an extremely good-looking person, and JFK, back when we were kids, was probably like the definition of a handsome man in the 90s. And what the Antichrist is referred to as the beast from the sea. Well, his plane crashed into the sea, and then it survives a mortal head wound. Well, he was, you could say this, maybe he hit his head on the dash of the plane and died, or his father head wound. But I thought about this for a second. If we're taking the Bible literally, which is what conservatives love to do to apply for their argument, King James, Revelation 13:3, and I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. All the world wondered after the beast. Technically, wasn't Trump shot in the head and survived a mortal head wound?
It wasn't mortal, though. It wasn't a mortal head wound, which means a wound that you will die from. Right?
Oh, could have. Just saying.
Yeah.
I think people do that with every president. They make some sort of comparison or correlation to the Antichrist. I heard it about Bill Clinton in the 90s. I heard it about Obama. I heard about Trump. So people are always looking for that, I feel like. Christians are always yearning, I think, in a positive way, maybe for Christ to come back. They want Christ to come back. They want the return of Christ. They want him to come back on the clouds. And at the same time,
end of the world.
They're looking for.
Who wants that?
The New Jerusalem. That's what they want, and they're on board with that. The Jews are specifically trying to usher in some of these end time prophecies. But yeah, they do take the Bible very literally, which they should. I mean, it's their religion. That's why Islam is so protective, and they're so, violent when it comes to defaming their religion or their prophet or their God. Christians aren't as much, and it's okay to feel that way. Christians, good for you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that because you're theologically trained, and Matt, you've got some very strong opinions about this. The more that we talk about, like, you could start it at the Holocaust, and it's kind of getting me more looking into the Jewish faith. And I have used the phrase for years, not knowing what the fuck I was saying, but the whole Judeo-Christian, we're a Judeo-Christian nation. And I thought about that for a second. Now, I'd like to be corrected. This is an education podcast. I'd like to learn as we go. But aren't those literally two conflicting values? Because if you really have it, I mean, people say that Christianity comes out of Judaism, but our literal belief is in the new covenant where Christ is here or came and he spilt his blood, paid for our sins. And that kind of like wipes out the past. Doesn't mean we don't learn from it, but can Christians coexist in a Judeo-Christian fashion when the Jews believe they're the chosen one, their Messiah hasn't come yet? We believe our Messiah has come, he will come back, and there's no middleman around that. How do they not just like magnets polarize off of each other because of that glaring difference?
Well, it depends how you look at it, right? Because the Bible was written by Jews, right? Jesus was Jewish, the lineage of David. He was from the tribe of Judah. So technically speaking, all these people who wrote the Bible, both Old and New Testament, were Jews. Again, depends how you look at it. Now, if you want to separate the Old Testament and New Testament, the Torah is called the Old Testament. This is what the Jews cling to. They don't cling to the new one. They cling to the old one. If you look at the God, Yahweh, in the Old Testament, it is pretty much an evil, demonic figure. And I can go through hundreds of verses to prove this to you. And if you want me to do so, I'll read some right now.
Have at it.
But let's go. What's that?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, Deuteronomy 7, 2 and 3. Neither shall thou make marriages with them, talking about Jews with Gentiles. Their daughters shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Deuteronomy 7, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee, talking about the Jews, to a special people unto himself, above all people. Okay, he's literally talking about separating these two. You are chosen, the other ones are not. We've been through that. Let me just scroll down here. Isaiah 60, thou shalt suck the milk of the Gentiles. Isaiah 60, 12, for the nations and kingdom that will not serve thee, the Jews, shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Isaiah 61, 5, the Gentiles shall stand and feed your flocks and be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Samuel 15, 3, 1 Samuel. Now go and smite Amalek. Who was Amalek, Scotty?
Amalek was a tribe that they said kill the women, the children, the livestock, all of it.
Right. Now and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all they have and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. Deuteronomy 28:10. Then all the peoples on earth will see that you are called by the name of thy Lord, and they will fear you. Deuteronomy 7, 2-6. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters, I think I went through that one. He just repeats the same one. Deuteronomy 15:6, for the Lord thy God blesseth thee as promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow, and thou shalt not reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. Deuteronomy 26:18-19, and the Lord has declared this day, you are his people, his treasured possession as he promised, and that you are to keep all his commands. He has declared that he will set you in praise, fame, and honor high above all the nations he has made, and that you will be a people holy to the Lord, as he promised. Isaiah 49:22. See, I will beckon to the nations. I will lift up my banner to the peoples. They will bring your sons in their arms and carry your daughters on their hips. Kings will be your foster fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers. They will bow down before you, and they will, with their faces to the ground, they will lick the dust off of your feet. For Psalm 110, for the Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until make thine enemies thy footstool. The Lord shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thine enemies. Let me just scroll down to Joshua 6:21. And they utterly destroyed all that was the city, both man and woman, young and old, oxen, sheep, and ass, with the edge of a sword. Let me go down to, let's see here. There's so many.
Can I interject here?
Sure, absolutely.
So what you see in the Old Testament, when you read through the Torah here, it is a very supremacist ideology. Their belief is that they're set apart by God. And when you follow the story of the Bible, even in the very early beginnings there, when, again, we're coming from these are Abrahamic religions. We're coming from Abraham, then Isaac, then Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons. Jacob becomes Israel. Israel's 12 sons. One of the sons was Joshua. Joshua, if you remember that story, Joshua in the coat of many colors. Joshua ends up getting thrown down a well. His brothers are jealous of him because it seems that Israel, Jacob.
Is that Joseph?
Joseph. Sorry. Joseph is favored by Jacob, Israel. He gets thrown down a well by his brothers. He gets taken back as he ends up finding favor with the king in Egypt and ends up becoming, I believe, somewhat like a prime minister almost.
Second in command, and then after, he was in prison for a while. Became like the dream. He translated dreams, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, but here, then it goes into Exodus here, where you have Moses was found in the river, and he's Jewish, and the Pharaoh's wife or whoever's related to the Pharaoh keeps Moses, and then Moses, he starts the exile out of Egypt. Moses goes up, and you see a pattern here with the Old Testament where the Israelites are promised the land of milk and honey, Canaan, going into Canaan. They're promised the promised land, that this is theirs, which they believe today, that there's a divine right to that land over there that they were promised to by God. But in the Old Testament, they kept disobeying God. Even in the very first time that Moses was given the Ten Commandments, he goes up to Mount Sinai, and before he even comes back down, they're already making a statue to worship. So you have all these different times throughout the Old Testament where these people, the Jews, God's chosen, are deliberately disobeying God. They're not accepting him. They're worshiping false idols. They're worshiping Baal. They're worshiping Moloch. And this covenant that God's promised for them, they're the ones that keep breaking it. Well, they can't fulfill the law. So, and it's foreshadowed throughout the whole Old Testament, Christ comes to fulfill the law and then to be the sacrificial lamb to pay the price for sin. And in doing so, that old covenant is crucified on the cross. Galatians 2:20 says, I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I that live, but Christ that lives in me. It no longer matters about DNA. It doesn't matter the seed of Abraham, the seed of Moses. He says to these Pharisees, these Sadducees, that God can raise up stones to be the seeds. The DNA means nothing anymore. So once that old covenant was crucified on that cross, the new covenant now is, if you accept me, and if you accept the sacrifice that I made, then you're in the family. You're in. So there's the difference. And when you look at the Old Testament, this God's a very jealous God. He's vengeful. He's spiteful. And then you have a God of the New Testament, which is mercy, grace, forgiveness, and acceptance and love. So there is a contradiction of the way the two books play out. So,
which leads me actually to the actual New Testament verses, and I believe you are familiar with them, Dominic, to where it says, I forget what book it is. Romans, I think it's Romans, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, he says, your father, you know neither my father nor me. What was that? You know neither me or my father. He's talking to the Sadducees and Pharisees.
It's in one
John.
of the Gospels.
Was that in John?
And those are the Jews. Let me repeat that. You know neither me or my father. Later down in verse 44, he says, my father is not your father. Your father is a liar and murderer from the beginning. What's another name for beginning when it comes to biblical books, Scotty?
Genesis.
Genesis, a murderer and liar from the beginning. Your father is that of the devil. When he lies, he speaks his native tongue. Clearly, this is without any, in my opinion, there's absolutely no mix-up here. He is specifically talking about two different people.
If I
Your
can, you can,
is not.
I can support that, and I can draw lines between what you're saying, because I've said this for years. I've said when you look at that we're all created equal, or all created in God's image, and I've always thought, well, yeah, you got your two arms, two eyes, and nose, all this kind of stuff. But I went, if you really look at the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament, they're two completely polarizing figures. And I've said, man, the first one reminds me of me as a kid, jealous, selfish, unwilling to be heard, do it my way, blah, blah, blah. And then then the God of the New Testament is patient. He's loving. I'm like, that's maturity. It's kind of shows. I always thought, man, do we go through this? And like, did God show us his evolution or what perfectly, whatever it is? But what you're showing kind of makes sense too. And here's the deal. If I'm going to accept what you say, because you do look at a God who said, take your son up on that rock and stab him for me, kill him, right? And that's the complete opposite of what the one in the New Testament says, which is, I'm going to give you my son. If that's the case, then what you just said further proves that Judaism is satanic and the word Judeo-Christian have no business going together. And I don't know why we support one another, because what you just put out there, it's not that hard to grasp. It's like, holy shit, these are some stark differences, and I'm seeing them.
And this nation, again, was founded not by Muslims, not by Buddhists, not by Jews, but by Christians. Again, Thomas Paine was the only guy who was an atheist when it comes to all the lead founding fathers. There was no Jewish founding fathers.
So how the hell are we a Judeo-Christian nation then?
That phrase was invented in the early 1900s, I believe.
Well, Schofield Bible was 1909, where it kind of promoted this pro-Zionist ideology of Jews being God's chosen. I mean, the Christians do have to reconcile this. They're going to have to come to an understanding that, again, we do the not all thing, not all, but this is the gist of it, is the Jewish people have not accepted Christ. They have not accepted him as the Messiah. They don't accept him as the Son of God. Ben Shapiro was on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan straight out asked him. He said, well, then who was Jesus? And Ben Shapiro said he was, and I'm paraphrasing.
He was a troublemaker who got killed for his trouble. He was a troublemaker.
You're right. He got killed for his troubles. They don't think he's anything special. They don't think anything about him. And on top of that, they don't have a lot of respect for Christians. We've shown multiple videos here. Matt's posted where you have Christians walking here in Jerusalem, and they're being spit at by Jewish people. We talked about the addition sign, the plus sign. Israel, so their far-right activists spitting on Christians is a Jewish custom, and that is from the Jerusalem Post. Maddie's showing me a article here from the Jerusalem Post that says,
dude, have you seen, that's not a joke. Have you seen how they, like, I've seen a couple of videos of I saw one specifically where a woman who was with a man, the man was clearly Jewish because of his outfit, the black hat, the beard, and the curls, and I don't know if they can get married or whatnot, but there was a woman who was with him, and she was talking, it looked like, to a homeless black man. The guy made himself, not finger in the mouth, he made himself throw up and puked on the guy. And I was reading the comments, people were like, yeah, this is what they do, blah, blah, blah. It's, I get my correlation or my pull to this is going in the political realm of, I grew up, you know, with the Jews are these sacred people, and I had no fucking clue why, especially when they deny the Savior. Okay, fine. So it's like, I don't know why I'm bending the knee to these people, because aren't I worshiping another God then by putting them on a fucking pedestal? So then that you now are in this election cycle where I can't tell you how many conservatives are bending the knee, and how Christian preachers and pastors need to support Israel, need to support the Jews, and that's how we're going to win the election, by getting them involved in politics. It stokes my fire and pisses me off, knowing that it's a place where you're supposed to develop your spirituality, but now it's becoming extremely politically weaponized. Could this be a Trojan horse or a wolf in sheep's clothing way to sneak in this Judaism to kind of, I don't know, maybe overtake Christianity, at least politically?
No, I mean, I think the evangelical Christian movement has been very, very beneficial to Jewish supremacy and Zionism.
I agree.
Especially in the 1900s on up. I mean, they have been a very good weapon for the Jewish supremacist. I mean, these people bow down to Israel more than they. I can show you videos of pastors saying that, yes, Jews are better than you. Literally say, these are Christian pastors saying this. I can show you the videos. I mean, they have weaponized their own religion against them. Why? Again, because of the Old Testament. Hey, we're God's chosen people, and they cling to it. And you got people like Hagee, what's his name? John Hagee.
There's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
even Rudy Giuliani recently was at the Trump rally, and he was screaming about Israel. You have Mike Huckabee. They're all of them. Ted Cruz. They'll all regurgitate the same line: God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They'll say it over and over again. The God of Israel. Charlie Kirk will say it. They just regurgitate it over and over again. And when you ask, like my father, who's a Christian boomer, I've asked him multiple times. I said, "Are we supposed to put a foreign nation's interests in front of our own?" And he'll just say, "Yeah, we're called to as Christians to bless Israel, and to pray for Jerusalem."
Go ahead.
Yeah, but he'll. My dad's 76 years old, and he knows I'll throw him under the bus every time. But I've grew up around these people. I went to a Christian school here in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, and you'd ask anybody. I went to the South Hills Assembly of God Church, and they are pro-Israel through and through, and they're even more pro-Israel than they are pro-America. They will donate. They like the foreign aid going out. They'll donate out of their own pockets to Israel, and they think they're doing so, and God will bless them. God will bless their church. God will bless their country. And I posed this question to my dad. I just said, show me where the blessings are exactly. Because since I've been able to vote and been paying attention to politics, I don't think we've gotten better as a nation. The only thing that we pointed at that we've gotten or increased in is technology, and technology is exponential across the board. So when you look at immorality, has it gotten better or has it gotten worse?
It's gotten hundreds
national
worse.
debt. Right, national debt. Has it gotten better in the last 20 years or has it gotten worse? Moral depravity. The list.
Look at Scott. Look at the fear. Look at the Christian vilification and fear of money, of which I was somebody who was utterly paralyzed at the thought of being wealthy. Like, it was like, oh my God, I can't make money, because if Christ wants me to live in a cardboard box under the viaduct on I-90, I have to. And then look at the complete opposite, with the Jewish culture, where money is basically the running joke of their foundational tenet. Why is it you have Christians who are almost brainwashed to be fucking poor, but then you've got the other Judeo of that Christian?
There's that verse in the
2 Corinthians chapter 3, 14 through 16. But their minds were made dull, for to this day the same veil remains when the old covenant is read. It has not been removed, because only in Christ is it taken away. Even to this day, when Moses is read, a veil covers their hearts. But whenever anyone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. As long as you are reading the Old Testament, your eyes are covered. You have a mask over your face, a veil over your face. And Dominic, do you know what the definition of the word apocalypse is? The real definition?
No, I do not.
Unveiling, unmasking, revealing. That is literally the definition of the word apocalypse.
Well, the poor versus rich conundrum that Christians face. There's a verse in the New Testament that says it's harder for a rich man, or it's harder for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven.
And explain what that is. I don't mean to interrupt you, because that was somebody, I grew up in a Catholic school saying, see, Jesus doesn't want you to be rich, and that was the complete opposite of what it is. If you actually pay attention to that when he talks about that, he knew the money changer, because they say that when he walked away, Jesus was actually sad. So it's kind of like, man, I knew you. I wish you'd follow me. But you have to be willing to give up all your earthly shit to follow him. It doesn't say be broke and live in a fucking cardboard box. But again, we have Christians who think that they're going to be a better Christian by being poor and broke and donating it all to, so what, it flows, because cash flows, it's going to flow to the Jews instead, and let's elevate them because they're a poor people.
Who invented usury and interest?
Well, I think the two Christians are hung up on even the Old Testament, kind of the different policies in the Old Testament, especially when it comes to tithing. I believe it's Malachi 3:10.
Malachi 3:10.
I could be wrong there.
Yes, it is. No, it is.
And it's basically what it says is 10% of your earnings go to God. So 10% is the benchmark there. And the New Testament's a little bit less clear there. Paul talks multiple times throughout his writings that you give as your heart tells you to give. You give as to where you feel like you should give. Because if I'm donating to, say, a Joel Osteen, do you think he's going to, I mean, it's not my place as a Christian to say, oh, well, I'm giving this money to this guy, this Joel Osteen, who's a complete swindler, right? He's a
what's his real ethnicity, by the way?
Osteen. We have a bell, but
I'm not making this up.
We're not making this up. But this is a prophet preacher. He's a prosperity preacher. I don't see a lot of gospel being, and I've watched some of his sermons. It's a very, God wants you to have this. God wants you to be this.
The title of his book is "Live Your Best Life Now." It's like, no, our best life is waiting for us. Go ahead. Yeah, but you're right.
But when it comes to tithing, who am I to say that God can't still use the money if I donate to or I tithe to the Joel Osteen Church? But here we're supposed to give to these prosperity preachers. And what are you using this money for? Joel Osteen lives in a $20 million mansion in Houston, while his congregation is showing up every week looking for some meat there, to some spiritual nourishment. And he just keeps on telling them, hey, just keep giving. God will bless you back. God will bless you back. So the Old Testament.
So what do they fucking do? They save up all their money and then they take a plane ride and go kiss a wall. What is this shit? That's why I don't get the
money. You got to kiss the wall. You want the money? You got to kiss the wall.
I got to fold a piece of paper and put it on the wall.
A little hat on the back of your head. That's why Thomas Massey. That's why Thomas Massey is all alone. He won't kiss the wall.
They won't. They all do it. By the way, I can share a picture of all of them doing it, from Bush Senior to Clinton,
the presidents.
You name it. They all go over there. They all put on a hat and they all touch the wall. And
they go to China, touch the Great Wall of China.
No, they don't. I just want Christians to really think about things. Listen, if you're an America first, you're a nationalist. You're saying this country, our interests should be put first. Really really ask, pray, is Israel today the Israel of the Bible? Is that what you're believing? Is that what you're saying? And if you believe that to be the case, are you willing to put that country's interests before our own? Because that's what's been done since 1948. It's what's been done since 1948. That country's interest has been put in front of our own.
Well, what is the Israel of the Bible? What is the Israel of the Bible?
Israel of the Bible.
Is it a physical place?
It's Old Testament, so it's still satanic. Old Testament. I showed you. I can go off for a couple hours on the things. It's a supremacist ideology. I've never seen anything more evil. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make this statement right now, and I don't give a shit what people think. If you worship the God of the Old Testament, you are a sick fuck. You are a sick fuck. That's it.
Well, you're right. You're right on that for a second, because that's you. This is putting pieces of the puzzle together that I'm not going to be able to articulate yet, but it's true. You can't, all things being equal, and with all the information out there, you can't be a Christian who follows Jesus and support Judaism. You can't. Because the God of the New Testament, again, sacrifice your children for me. Put the blood of the lamb on the door. Do the hokey pokey, turn around and 3 times and bow. Those were rituals and traditions. Even in the concept of me being Catholic and having, which I'm not anymore, I have crucifixes in my home. That's idolatry. Because what am I looking at? I'm looking at a porcelain ceramic my grandmother made 50 years ago for me, and I'm like, oh, it's not fucking Christ. It's a figure. So if what you just said is true, because the God of the Old Testament, that's not what we're supposed to follow anymore. New covenant, one and done. You got the Holy Spirit sent after he ascended to heaven. So it negates all the Old Testament. I don't even know. I've said it for years. I don't know why I study it. I don't know why I breathe back into it. If it's to affirm or strengthen my conviction in the New Testament, all right, show me some bridging there. Yeah. But what you said, I don't disagree with.
Again, Jesus' words. Your father is not my father. Your father is the devil.
I think there are some, as far as literature goes, there's some great stories in the Old Testament. When I enjoy this book of 1 Samuel. I think it's David and Goliath, even Hannah and Samuel, and Samuel finding Saul. As far as story goes, like you look at even the book of Daniel, the Bible is historically and accurate. And what I mean by historically and geographically, people, places, and things. So King Darius, King Nebuchadnezzar, King Belshazzar, you'll find all those in the book of Daniel. They're also, that's Babylon, that's modern day Iraq. You'll find those names in history books as well. So I enjoy the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when Christ is in the fire. And I think Proverbs for a book for wisdom is a great book there. But the ideology of a group being supreme over other groups, I think we can universally agree that that's wrong. And I think Christ agrees with that too.
100%.
Right. So when Christians elevate a group of people, they elevate a country above their own and above their own interests because they think they're going to get blessings back. That's it.
Christians are
you don't have to.
Conservative Christians are so hypocritical where they want you to draw a line in the sand when it comes, like, it's black and white. It's either a pro-choice or pro-life. It's either no trans this or whatever. They want you to draw a line except for where the most imperative line must be drawn. Do you accept Christ as your Savior? Yes, I do. Well, then you cannot support a people who mock him, deny him, and said he's just a fucking criminal who got killed for his trouble. Come over here, worship me, 6 million, blah, 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 blah. You can't. You have to start calling them out on their stuff and go, if I'm your goyim, if your religion, and when you get people like Elon who goes, well, it's not all Jews. No, it's not, but a good foundation of the people who practice your religion look down on people like me who still look at Christ as king. So I'm sorry, you are not my fucking equal, not equally yoked to you. I want nothing to do with you. I do not support you. You Christians, you have to start doing that.
I agree. It's come at a detriment to them. Yeah. Honestly, it's come at a detriment to our country. There's no easy way to say this. but $3.8 billion a year for I don't know how many years. And on top of that, there's more than
There's
that.
more than
There's
that.
more than that. That's just in foreign aid. We're talking about
There's
giving
the defense budget funds that go to them. That's not accounted for in that 3.8 billion.
and countries around them like Egypt and Jordan. You can say we give the money to them in foreign aid just like we do any other countries for different reasons, but the gist of it is we give money to those countries like Egypt and Jordan as bribery to not fuck with Israel.
That's
exactly what we do.
Yep. So Alex even said that, who's an Egyptian friend of ours.
We have a friend of ours, Egyptian, that he says the same thing. We bribe countries around there to say, hey, kind of leave Israel alone. But how much longer can we continue to do that as a country? How much longer?
Scott, Matt, what's the consequence of it? We pull out the $3.8 billion. Our own country's going to shit, flooded with illegals. You can't even the infrastructure's going to shit. Homelessness, cost of whatever living is just in the toilet. Why? Why do I have to listen to one of my favorite blue check marks online telling me if I don't support Israel, then I'm their enemy, blah, 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 blah. Why the fuck should I give a rat's ass about Israel? Number one. Number two, what happens if we just stop with our support for them? Will America suffer and die? Will America die?
Well, how dare you not give money to Israel? What do you want, another Holocaust to happen?
It's not my fucking problem.
Didn't you see the pile of shoes?
Yeah.
That's why it's psychological warfare. These people are suffering again, called cognitive dissonance. It's a great brainwashing technique. They're the biggest victims throughout all of history. You have to support them. White supremacy is the number one evil because Hitler. And if you don't support Jews and bow down to them, there's going to be another Holocaust.
Right.
That's basically what it is.
And they're extremely hypocritical, Dominic. They get to pick and choose who becomes citizens of their country. They get to pick and choose who comes in and who doesn't. Just like every other country has a right, except for Western European countries in the United States of America. Poland's doing okay and Hungary's doing okay. They're finally getting it. They shut down their borders, but China,
the president of Poland.
Wait. Poland's shutting down. You mean Israel's choosing their citizens? Poland's doing it. Isn't that what a guy with a tiny little mustache tried to do to strengthen his culture in the 1930s? He was being a little bit selective and shit. Are you saying that
you're thinking too much, Dominic? Stop thinking so much.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, for those countries, even like China. China's ethnically over 90% Chinese. India is over ethnically 90% Indian. So when you talk about being selective as to who you let in this country, when you properly vet people that want to come and live here, there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. However, this idea of multiculturalism has been pushed on us. It's been pushed on the West. It's been pushed on Western Europe. Germany found out real quick that taking in 500 Syrian refugees under Angela Merkel was a huge mistake. Sweden found out real quick that was a huge mistake, letting Syrian refugees in. They become the rape capital of the world.
Rape capital of Europe.
Sure. And then France, too, is seeing an uptick in violent crime.
Britain.
Yeah, the Netherlands.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere. The classical European... in Europe is dying, and so is the West with it.
And who calls for the end of Amalek and Edom?
Well, that's the other thing, too. Matt brought this up in a previous podcast. Who really pushes for a lot of this immigration? Who really pushes?
All Jewish organizations, including Barbara Specter. You watch the videos. I've sent the videos 100 times. Highest in America.
What's highest stand for?
The Hebrew Immigration Aid Society. They brag about it, which is funny because the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was a part of HIAS. He worked for HIAS.
It's a true story.
He was one of the head guys at HIAS.
You can't deny it.
Who's in charge of the border?
That's right.
That guy.
Alejandro Mayorkas. He's in charge of Homeland Security.
So all it is it's the fear, the control by fear, right? Because as a typical middle American who lives in the Midwest and the northwest suburbs of Chicago, if somebody looks and says, do you support Israel? And I go, I don't fucking care. Because literally, what is my verbal support? Because it's all I offer, right? If I say, yeah, I verbally support them, or no, I don't, well, it's either going to be, yay, you support Israel, or you're an anti-Semite. I'm not sending them fucking money. my 38 cents a month to feed a homeless child, and put food in his stomach to keep the flies off of his face, like my fucking mother did in the 80s. Stupid kid of a portrait. We had this portrait of a fucking kid on our piano free. This is our little adopted
Who's
son.
the chick? Who's the blonde chick from All in the Family?
Oh, it's Sally Struthers.
Yes.
The fucking point being is, what is it? It's fear. I'm Christian. I worship Christ. I don't believe the Jews have it right. If they want to come and have a conversation with me, I will not debate you. I will do my best to express my love for him. Other than that, sink or swim, motherfuckers. I don't give a shit what happens to you or anybody else that's 6,000 miles away from me. Oh, you're anti-Semite. Oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that, man. Oh, please don't cancel me. Is it just fucking fear? It's stupid.
Well, I would say that's the number one thing, because you can fear of losing your job, fear of losing business contracts, fear of losing your bank account, or look at Nick Fuentes. Never broke one single law. He's not even allowed to fly in an airplane. Not even allowed to fly in an airplane.
Listen,
never broke one law.
We're not Nick Fuentes supporters here. There's some things he says.
Just giving you an example.
But we're giving you an example of people that have been shut down because of how outspoken they've been about certain things. That's just what it is. And these groups like HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, and they push this on us, and we say, hey, we don't want all this multiculturalism. We don't want, how many different Haitians are being put in Springfield or being put in Charleroi, Pennsylvania. We don't want all these different refugees coming over. What's the thing they'll tell you? To shame you into accepting it. They'll call you a name. They'll call you a bigot. They'll call you a racist. They'll call you a nationalist, a Nazi. They'll call you all these names, and that gets you to shut up and be quiet and be like, all right, I guess I'll keep my mouth shut. I don't want to be called a bad name, so I guess I'll just let my country be infiltrated by all these people who have zero affection for this place. They could care less about the Constitution. They could care less about the history of this country and its founding and its founding fathers and its founding documents. They give a shit. But you'll get called a bad name if you speak up about it, so I better be quiet.
But you got to be like Bane from Batman. But I called you an anti-Semite.
And this gives you power over me?
So that's what you have to be like. But you can look this up, Dominic, and I can even show you video proof of this. And Cynthia McKinney is a prime example. When you are elected as a member of Congress, you must sign a pledge to Israel. You must sign a pledge. Go ahead and research this. I don't know if it's 38 states now. It could be more. You must sign a pledge for Israel. And Cynthia McKinney didn't, and they ended up voting her out. It's a black Democrat, by the way. This is a black female Democrat. She's been in multiple interviews. She was very critical of Israel. She refused to sign the pledge. She goes, I'm an American. I'm not signing a pledge for another country. They don't make you sign a pledge for any other country but Israel.
Well, just on face value here, as just thinking out loud, as an American citizen, are you okay with having a foreign leader come over and give instructions to elected officials here in this country? Are you okay with that?
Nope.
Because periodically, there's a prime minister from the country of Israel that will come here and give a speech to Congress, and there's a standing ovation every 15 seconds. 50 standing ovations, by the way, is what he got. That's why the speech took so long. But he's giving direction to these congressmen and congresswomen, saying this is what you have to do, that Israel interests and American interests are chained together. They're chain linked together.
Well, one guy didn't show up.
Thomas Massey didn't show up. That's right. And there was a bunch of Democrats that didn't show up too. But that just ask yourself, is that normal? Is that normal for a foreign leader to give a speech on U.S. soil instructing what to do with taxpayer dollars?
U.S. has no fucking balls. We let that half a fag, a comedian from Ukraine, speak in Congress. This country's so fucking lost. I don't care.
What's his ethnicity?
I don't. Is he Jewish? I do. I'm tired of this shit.
Yes, he openly admits it. He openly admits and brags about his Bolshevik grandfather being some great hero.
So
there needs to be Christian Ukrainians.
There needs to be a solid. You cannot be. I don't care what religion you practice. I live in a very diverse area. I said I can't stand her politics. I live 5 houses down from Tammy Duckworth. I have no problem with her. She's always nice when she's in town and waves, and she's a sweet lady. I live next to people who are literally from India. I live next door. I have a ton of people who are mostly liberals in this area, practicing different faiths and religions. But if you are America first, fuck your nation. fuck your country, fuck anything outside of America first. But that's the problem with conservatives is they want to go, America first. Well, but we also have to sit there. No, fuck you. Draw a line. That's why Democrats and liberals are so good at getting what they want done, because they draw that line and they fucking hold to it. We don't. We're fucking pussies.
Well, Teddy Roosevelt said that there can't be a dual allegiance here. You're either 100% American or you're not. And when you come here and you become a citizen, or you were born here and you are a citizen, there's no dual allegiances with other countries. It's 100% America first. And that's how it's got to be. And you have to have affection for this place. You have to love America. You have to love its founding. You have to love its founding documents. You have to love the idea, and you have to adopt the American spirit when you come here. And a lot of these immigrants, they do not. They don't. I see it on a day-to-day basis. They have no desire whatsoever to learn the English language.
Of course, that's everywhere. That's fucking. You ask any cop who works in an urban area, what happens when you get, like, let me put it this way. Scott, Matt, you go to Mexico, you move there tomorrow, and you're working, and you drive in their roads without one of their driver's license. What happens to you?
Going to jail.
Right. Here, it's fucking jail, I-bond, tow their car, slap on the wrist. Nothing. Then they can go to another state without any identification and get a Wisconsin driver's license without anything whatsoever. Yep. They have no fucking, this melting pot of ours, we do not force. And it's hilarious because now Hillary Clinton, I'm going to play this really quickly because this is how far the fucking left has gone when it comes down to wanting proper assimilation from other nations.
Crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
That's Hillary fucking Clinton in 2008.
Super based. Super based right there.
Well, now you have Donald Trump who wants to bring as many people here as possible.
He wants to attach
legally.
He wants to attach green cards to diplomas.
Or non-citizens. Yeah, and they're both on the same page. One just doesn't care whether it's, quote, legal, unquote, or not. And the other one just wants to claim they want to bring people here legally. Completely changing the demographics, getting rid of Edom, annihilating Edom, genociding the European race, because that's what they're doing in Europe. They're doing it. They have admitted to doing it. How many fucking videos of the rabbis do I have to show you fucking admitting it on camera before you people wake the fuck up?
Well, how
but it
soon?
Doesn't matter.
How soon until they tell yourself?
People are brainwashed.
Yeah, yes, they are. So I made fun yesterday of saying that we went through this time of phenomenal marketing, right? To where you thought that toilet paper was your saving grace during a pandemic. The left has proven that all it takes is to take the most unfavorable candidate in the history of their party and put her up front, and all of a sudden she's the next Barack Obama. She's so awesome. Marketing works to brainwashed sheep. I ask you this, how soon until brainwashed conservatives are told, man, the only way that Israel will survive is if you tithe 90% of your checks to the Israeli government, or just kill yourselves so there's more air to breathe for Israelis and Jews. Peace be to Israel. How soon will they do that?
They'll just tell you to go die and fight the war over there for Zog. You know, they're already telling you to give money. They've already printed money and gave it to Israel. They just gave another $5.2 billion out of the defense budget to Israel, last week? Another $5.2 billion last week.
It's amazing they can find money for that, but they can't find money for hurricane relief. It's crazy to me. That's no problem. They keep on funneling money to Ukraine and Israel.
Who runs the government? Again, you do not vote for the people who actually run our government. You're voting for the cucks and the fucking actors and the prostitutes, half of which are probably on the Epstein client list, which is why you'll never fucking see that list. This, again, only a fucking retard or a liar can deny these things. Only a retard, and I have more respect for the retard because at least they're honest. At least they believe it.
We're a week away from a new president. A week away.
I say Israel wins the election. How about you?
Jeez. Fucked. Oh my God. Hey, we haven't played the game today. It's time. We have to catch up because Monday came and went and I wasn't here. Guys, we have to catch up on these glorious Chicago shooting numbers really quickly for the weekend. It was very nice out. Can you guys give me the total number of people who were shot in Chicago? Total number of people have shot?
6 million. 6 million.
My guess would be 31.
Very close. The answer was 36. Can you tell me how many people were killed over the weekend?
If you look at the ICRC report, I believe it's 271,000.
All right, well, let's do, I'm going to say 5 out of the 36.
You are dead on accurate. It was 5. 5 people were killed. There was, however, I don't know how this was national news, a woman was found dead beside a severed foot in the stairwell of a Chicago Loop luxury high-rise. So there's that. All right, so let's do the month. We are closing out. We're the 30th day of the month of October, 1 day left. How many people have been killed for this month in Chicago? If you guys can give me a number for that.
Total in the whole month?
Yeah, just for the month.
164.
Oh, okay. It's actually, Scotty, do you have an answer?
I'll say 89.
You guys are, it's 51, so that's 1.6 people per day were killed. Now, how many people have been shot for the month? That includes those who were killed. How many people were shot for the month in October in Chicago?
I'm going with 164 again.
No, for the month of October, I'm going to say 903.
The answer is 233. 233 Black lives do not matter for the month of Chicago. And, well, I guess maybe if
I went too high with that. I went too high.
You can never go too high. You have no idea what's going on with that. If you guys want to play the Chicago shooting numbers, we do that every Monday here for the most part. But I was at a wedding and there was that. I just fucking don't know. Well, I want to bring up one more.
You got an election prediction, Dominic?
Yeah, do I? Yeah, she's going to win. They're not going to let him win. And I think there's going to be chaos like crazy. I don't think that she's going to, I don't think that he's, I think that the country's going to go to shit. I think you're already, I don't even know if the election is going to go through because if you're starting to see, like in Portland, there was incendiary devices found in those drop box. And it should simply be a national day of voting. It's a federal holiday. You get off to vote. Your employer is mandated. I don't know how they would do it. But then again, too, we lived in a society where all the businesses were closed on Sundays growing up. Close the stores. You got to go vote in person or you don't fucking vote at all. This absentee ballot shit, this mail-in voting shit, fuck all that. But I see chaos ensuing. I really do. You guys got any predictions?
Yeah, I'm going to say Trump goes 2-0 against women in elections. I think Trump gets in. I think he back-to-back stops women from being a leader of this country.
I would love that. I would fucking love that. I don't want a broad. At all. No women. No women at all. Oh, shit. Guys, what do you got coming up for the Burn Pit podcast?
Join us every Monday at 4 o'clock on Spreely TV. You can find Spreely on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick. Download the Freedom Hub app. Mondays, 4 o'clock, the Burn Pit podcast. Me and Maddie talk news of the day. We're always joined. We're not always joined, but we're
Ben Shapiro's coming on Monday, right?
That'd be great. How about that? That would be awesome. But last Monday, we were joined by an author named Anthony Lasacco. We talked about voting and why it's still important or why it still matters. But, yeah.
Didn't convince me.
Oh, damn. We should have gone long for that one. Damn. I should have asked about that. Well, wait.
Thanks for having us on, man.
Voting's on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Well, then Monday, I'll bump if you guys want to come on Monday again. Or do you want to do like Tuesday and join me and Eric and do like a big fucking round table the election day?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll definitely do that. What time? 1 o'clock
Same
again?
time. Yeah, same time. We'll have a big show on
Yeah.
Tuesday. All right, that's it. Burn Pit Podcast. Check them out on Mondays. We'll talk about Tuesday whether or not it's patriotic to vote and whether or not you should. And because I just don't fucking know anymore. Whatever. And start to do your own research. Don't let us give our opinions and sway you in anything, but it should spark an internal conversation to go, shit, maybe I've been fucking fed all my life, lies all my life. And it's a big eye opener when you start to look at things. And you will get challenged. You will get called anti-Semite, racist, all that shit. And it's a good feeling. It's a good fucking feeling. That's it. Go out and help somebody today. And if you can't help them, go build a shower that doesn't have any vents or locking doors. I mean, don't hurt them. That's what I meant. Don't hurt them.